Check, Mike. Microphone. Pikachu, did you check the microphone and the blocking and everything? Because you are once again the producer of the show that's running right now. Pikachu, what are you thinking? I know, your mind's all stuffed with fluff. You're an inanimate object. And hi, how's it going? Welcome back once again for the Super Sully Sunday stream, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern weekly, where we go on and on about pop culture and comic books. And yeah, how you doing? Good to see everyone out there once again. Regrets, apologies for anyone out there who miffed about it, but this is a pre-recorded show, so please have fun in the live chat if you're able to without me. I'm in Florida, spending time with my family. We're hanging out. Yeah, because we only see each other at weddings and funerals, so we thought it would be a good idea to do something else. And we've had plenty of losses too. We lost my mother in July 31st last year. We lost my Auntie Cheryl about 3 weeks ago. She's my cousin's mom, my uncle's first wife. So we have plenty to get together and hug and mourn. You know what I mean? But that wasn't expected, But we did make time to hang out with each other, and looking forward to it as well. How are you doing? We got some comic books to talk about. Once again, I'm using my old video camera setup here, so I don't have access to my second screen, which is it's got a life of it's got a mind of its own, and what I will do is I'm going to use my iPhone to access the Marvel comics that I read this week. What did I read? 15 Marvel comics this week? I'll tell you in a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 Marvel comics this week. And let's get these in the bag. Pikachu! You're supposed to make sure everything's ready. We're not ready to go, and there you are rolling. Now here I am stuck in the bag like I'm hi, and what's in the bag? What's in the bag? We go to our local comic book shop every Wednesday, every new comic book day for New Comic Book Day, and check out the new releases and pick up a thing or two. We are also going to talk about the great Star Wars hubbub. There's a hubbub in Star Wars, and you're part of it whether you want it or not. That's right. Force or be forced. So is what, oh no, I call it the Force and the Forced. AKA, so you wanted adult Star Wars. So I need to speak in code or else we get demonetized. We get flagged for inappropriate content. So we have to use code words like big boys and girls because, this is YouTube and you have to play by the rules. All right. Or I won't make the whole 17 cents from the ads. Something like that. So if you understand Pig Latin is when you take the consonant or the first letter of the word, put it at the end of the word, then add an A. That's Pig Latin. So we talk about it. It's called SA. Or in Pig Latin, it's Excelua salty. Yeah. I know. Or grape, as in the G dash the rest of the letters. And we use the word grape, the fruit, the proto raisin, as a word that we can say on YouTube. Them's the rules. I didn't make the rules. I break the rules. When you can't break yourself. You can't break the law. You can only break yourself against the law. That's how it goes out here on the Grand Information Superhighway on the Intrapoop. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Sunday afternoon. It's 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. And I hope you're doing awesome. I hope you're feeling great. I hope that everything is going your way. I hope you're full of gratitude and love. Once again, we'll go back to the live streams next week. That's about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm literally out of town. So I'm pre-recording some content so we don't miss our show. We're going to still talk about comic books. We're still going to talk about the new releases that we read, what we bought, and also Star Wars. My lifelong love of Star Wars. I just apologize that I can't bring up images. So this is all coming from my mind, heart, and hip. I do not watch Disney Plus. I've never owned it. I don't want to watch Disney Plus. I don't want to give them clicks. I don't want to give them the metrics. That is the most important thing for them. Engagement and view time. Kind of like us, the YouTubers. I mean, this is where, that's the 21st century paradigm. The paradigm. No, paradigm. That's how it's done in the here and now. So it's not about ratings. It is about viewership. So as soon as you tune in for like 10 seconds, voila, another view is added. So Tony Gilroy's Star Wars Andor Season 2. A Star Wars story. But this has been made for a 14 plus audience, an adult, a younger adult, but this is Star Wars specifically made for grown-ups, with grown-ups in mind. So this is about Cassian Andor. He was the hero of Rogue One, a Star Wars story where he was the co-hero along with Jyn Erso. Yes. And K2SO was the droid, the Imperial droid. And then you had this one and that one and the other thing. And Cassian Andor is a rebel spy. He works for he's part of the rebellion. And it's about modern themes. It's made for modern audiences. It's made with that sensibility in mind. It's about the oppressors, who are the Empire, the evil Empire, and the oppressed, who are everyone else in the galaxy, especially aliens. Because remember, Palpatine was racist against all non-humans. If that's still canon, who knows? I kind of free myself from these arguments about Disney canon versus Lucas era canon. I'm 52 years old. I was 5 years old. I was actually 4 years old on May 25th, 1977, when Star Wars came out. It wasn't A New Hope. It wasn't A New Hope until Empire Strikes Back came out on May 21st, 1980, when the episode 5 was put onto it. And then Star Wars became episode 4, A New Hope. That was added to the opening crawl. But there was life before that. Yeah, I mean, it may not have... There was once a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, 1977, where it could have failed and it may have never got a sequel. But guess what? It exploded like the Death Star and became the cultural phenomenon that it is today. It's 48 years old this year. There must be something cooking for the 50th in 2 years. I wonder what it will be. I wonder if it's going to be a new movie. And in 2012, George Lucas, the auteur, the maestro, the man, the myth, the legend, and the legend and myth maker of Star Wars itself, sold Star Wars to Disney. And we thought something wonderful was going to happen, and, now fandom is split. And that's about it, yeah. Yeah, huh? And so it comes to this week's newest controversy. If it wasn't this thing, it's the other thing. So there was an essay in this week's episode of Andor, which actually I think it wrapped up. It was in the third episode of Andor, where Cassian Andor's romantic interest or partner. I don't watch the show. I don't want. All of these Disney content, these Disney Plus Star Wars content shows I've ever seen. The most of it was about 8 minutes, and it was this lore-breaking lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor, and Darth Vader, played by Hayden Christensen, in the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a pretty good lightsaber duel. I'm a big fan of lightsaber duels. Yeah. I mean, only recently have I stopped going with a paper towel core. Just now it's kind of whatever. Disney, had that impact. So I am a Lucas era fan, and I'm happy to have that. And I'm lucky, blessed, and grateful to have all that great Star Wars. That from 1977 to 2012, we had this splendid, body of work. And then came in Disney and Disney-fied it. And went to focus groups. And went to... Oh my goodness. Is it time for an advertisement? Matras parsas tu contea, sit nos na sukadukada, agama paino nitnyas, tam stitik sasvabarata. That's my mantra. It's just my alarm for my mantra. Nothing to see here. These aren't the droids you're looking for. So buttons, as Ma says. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Marvel content either on Disney Plus. It just does not interest me. It's an inferior product in my humble opinion. And and Disney fans are the worst. I mean, I know that Lucas era fans, the whole fandom menace thing, there's some oppressors for you oppressed people, huh? It's Disney era fans, they're younger, and they take it as a personal attack when the older fans criticize the Disney era material, because it's their Star Wars. And just, you know what I mean? There's either room for you if you like it, and if you don't, you have to get out and keep quiet and suck it up. I've gone on record before saying that Disney Star Wars has ex-wife energy. I've left you for somebody else. I love them more than I ever loved you. I'm taking the kids. If you ever want to see the kids again, you're gonna have to behave. And if you want to cry over the old pictures of us, you can do anything you want. You can burn them. But guess what? I don't care, because I'm going forward with this new love of mine, this new love of my life, and it ain't you. And I'm not even grateful for the life that we had together. I'm not even grateful for all the support you gave me. I'm not even grateful for all the time, money, and effort you put into our relationship. I've moved on, and if you can't, that's a you problem. And that's also Star Trek. That's also Doctor Who. That's tabletop gaming. And so many hobbies. It's comic books. It's where it's been encroached on by the myth of the modern audience, by the academic postmodernists that come out of academia in colleges, and especially Ivy League business schools. Remember, evolve and elevate the iconic brand. The existing, customer base is out of touch, and we're looking to sell X product to Y new consumers, new drinkers, new eaters, new buyers, new readers. Fill in the blank. That is the mentality, and it's just. But going back to Star Wars and going back to Andor season 2, episode 3, where Bix, her name is Bix. She's pretty, but she's also a very a transparent allegory for undocumented workers and deportation rights. And an imperial officer finds her, questions her, finds out that she's not supposed to be there because she is an undocumented worker. She is, could be deported, and uses this as leverage, and then tries to assert himself physically on Bix. And Bix fights back, bludgeons him, I guess, with a ratchet, and kills the imperial officer. It's even a quote, "He tried to grape me." And this is Star Wars we're talking about, right? Star Wars. Fucking Star Wars. It's made for kids. It's a kid's tale about space wizards. I don't see what you're getting all upset about. You're taking it so seriously. Disney. I've been spoken to like that. Not exactly like that. I mean, like I'm making up a character in order to, to elucidate these thoughts. But now here you have the intersection of, feminism. You have the intersection of real life Earth things. And like migrants, illegal immigrants, deportations, and SA. And there's nothing more feminist than having this depiction. The biggest accusation of Disney era Star Wars is that Disney bought Star Wars because they sorely needed a boys brand. But through the committees, I am not a committee. We got no time to discuss this as a committee. Through the committees, through the focus groups, through the feminism of Ivy League business school grads, and just the famous whiteboard of the Disney focus groups and writers conferences. I mean, there's nothing more empowering than having a woman defend herself and kill her potential grapist. Grape. Grapeeis. Well, I don't even want to go there. But that's what I think, too. It's just like, wow, because that's a feminist power fantasy. If anything, not only are you smashing the patriarchy, you're defending your bodily autonomy, you're defending your identity. It's the greatest of all fears of women, besides being knocked up by one of these essays. And that's S.A., not essay as one of my Mexican friends would say, a buddy, or an essay as in a written assignment, of a couple of paragraphs in order to describe the subject matter. You know what I'm getting at, right? Like, F's in the chat if you don't. But Bix defends herself, but it's the cause célèbre of the week. Like, oh my God! They're trying to put grape in Star Wars! And it's like the fucking outrage cycle spikes all over again. Heavens to Murgatroyd. May the Force be with you. Oh, yuck. Yet, there have been instances of SA or grape in the Legends continuity, in the EU, the expanded universe that was rebranded by Disney as Legends. The old expanded universe. I don't know them. I cannot rattle off these things chapter verse. The only thing I got to contribute to that, though, are two things. One, in the old Knights of the Republic series, I forget which one. It was she Red, the Twilight girl, who, and it was like a Sith, and he frees the Twi'lek girl, and so she's indebted to him. And I remember because these KOTOR things, you have yes or no, you have like this really robust way to choose things. And the Twi'lek girl says to the Sith Lord, am I going to be required for domestic duties? And yes or no. And so I watched these cut scene movies of Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars: The Old Republic. These video games that are set 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. Also, slavery is a part of Star Wars. It's part of the story. I mean, look at the Hutts. They keep slaves. They sell slaves. Look at Return of the Jedi itself. The Twi'lek slave girl, Una, who's dancing for Jabba, and she refuses his advances when he pulls her in, and he says, ha ha ha, Bosca, and hits the button. The trapdoor falls, and there goes off, and with the assumed violence, and we hear it through the sound design and the sound effects and a voiceover. It's all off panel. The fate of Una, the Twi'lek dancing girl who defied Jabba the Hutt. She was eaten by a rancor. And that's set up to pay off because then we know we have a trap floor, and then when Luke and the Gamorrean guard get thrown down, and then we have the reveal of the rancor, big monster, And when Princess Leia is found out as being Bossk, and they're like, she unfreezes Han, the botched rescue, which was kind of on purpose, so Luke can get in there, and they can do, that was part of the ruse, But there's this very famous scene right before the slave Leia steel bikini came, Jabba grabbing Leia in her Bossk outfit, going ho 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 ho, and licking her. So you see the giant hot tongue lick Leia, and you can in her complete and Carrie Fisher's and Princess Leia's complete revulsion of that. And then the next time we see her, she's in a steel bikini with a choker around her neck on a chain, having to lie at Jabba the Hutt's fucking feet, or his trunk, or his tail, on his dais platform. And then, rightfully so, and great, because this is great setup to pay off, she chokes him with her own chain on the skiff, on the sail barge, during the Sarlacc scene. Boom. Great stuff. But me, personally, I noticed a potential SA in Attack of the Clones, and I've known this for years, but I've only just recently started talking about it because of this week's news. I'm talking about Anakin's mother, Shmi Skywalker. When Anakin returns to Tatooine with Padme in Act 2 of Attack of the Clones, he's having 4 streams about his mother and suffering. So he end up on Tatooine, and when he goes, he goes to Watto first. Oh, I sold her to Klieg Lars, years ago, and he goes to the Lars homestead, meets Klieg, meets Owen and Beru. And he finds out that his mother had been taken in a Tusken raid days and days ago. And they killed a bunch of settlers. Klieg lost a leg, but he couldn't save his wife. And so Anakin can still feel her through the Force. He goes on a speeder bike and he finds the Tusken village. And he finds his mother, tied up, bleeding, bloody, beaten, clinging to life. And then the relief that she sees seeing her grown son. Annie, is it you? And she's like, and she passes away. And then rises and swells the music. He looks up. He's got that look in his eyes. And then the hut opens. He ignites his lightsaber, and then it's presumed it's off camera. All the bad stuff happens off camera. This is a PG movie. But I think, there's potential to be interpreted, unfortunately, that Shmi Skywalker endured SA at the hands of the Tusken Raiders, who are humanoid and who appear to reproduce sexuality because they have children. And it's funny because, if you're a Star Wars fan, you know that the Tusken Raiders are an unknown. What are underneath those wraps? Nobody knows. Who are the Tusken Raiders? Who are the Sand People? Nobody knows. There is no canonical, official kind of Lucas or Disney. It might be kind of now. Same with Yoda, though, and Yaddle or Grogu. No planet of origin and no name for the species. I mean, It's been 40 years. How's that? Did you know that? Go look it up yourself. Look on Wikipedia. Ask Grok. What species is Yoda? What planet is he from? It doesn't have an answer. It's unanswerable. Same thing with the Tusken Raiders. So I've gotten so much pushback on this too, because we talk about this stuff on Twitter X. And it's like, I'm sorry that my mind went there, but what happened to female captives? Why didn't they just kill her and leave her behind? Did they just get their jollies off of making her suffer and torture her and starve her to death? What happened to women in raiding parties historically? When it came to the Vikings or when it came to anyone. Unfortunately, very bad things happen to women who are held captive. And look at the Middle Eastern stuff from October of 2003. That little thing that you getting on college campuses, and the flags, and to the river, to the sea, and you, and number two. I don't know what to say on YouTube, because what's going to get you struck? What's going to get you violated? What's going to get you false flagged? What's going to get you earned 2 minutes in the penalty box? Who knows? But did Shmi Skywalker suffer SA at the hands of the Tusken Raiders in Attack of the Clones? Now, I've read all the novelizations. There's nothing in the novelizations to suggest this. There's nothing besides her physical state. She is clothed, and she's bound to some kind of, wooden structure. You know what I mean? So there's no evidence. There's nothing direct to support this claim of mine. This is all nuance. This is all interpretation. This is inference. I'm taking the available information and I'm making up the details that could fit within those panels, within those story beats. I'm suggesting, unfortunately, maybe even because Luke was an allegory for SA in The Last Jedi with the Rashomon effect flashbacks, because the entire context of Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon is SA. I'm thinking there's room for that. That, unfortunately, Shmi Skywalker endured that horror. And it's nothing, I'm not wishing it on her. I'm just accepting and realizing that, hey, that just might have happened to Shmi. I don't know. I don't have answers. All I have are more questions. And like I said, it's just a theory. But I've gotten some weird pushback on it because I'm feeling like, there's just, the physiology, the Tuskens are not even human. But I'm like, well, interspecies love and sex happens all the time in Star Wars. You don't even have to accept the Disney canon, because that would be like Rebels. Look at Hera Syndulla and Kanan Jarrus. Together they made baby Jason Syndulla. Hello. and also in the Clone Wars, there was a clone that deserted and married a Twi'lek, and they had kids. But that's specious, because that's Disney canon. That's Filoni stuff. That's David Filoni stuff. And I'm not going to argue about like who's the superior. I mean, who's the better Star Wars? I mean, I am a Lucas era fan. The Lucas era is closed. The Lucas era closed in 2012 when Disney bought it. Especially about 2014 when Disney made the editorial decision to nullify the expanded universe. And I've always had this elasticity of belief when it comes to Star Wars. Like, look, Marvel Star Wars, issue 1 through 107 with 3 annuals from 1977 to about 1986, I believe. And some of that stuff is picked and chosen and cherry-picked. That ends up in later stuff. But this is not canon. Far from it. I also got Star Wars, the newspaper strips. The newspaper strips. See, it's got the legend banner on it. Because this is not expanded universe. This is not a reprint of what was being sold monthly at Marvel. These, I'll read the back. Where are my cheaters? More classics. And this is reprinted from the Dark Horse collection. And I want the IDW books because the IDW books are like a landscape format, and they keep the panel progressions of the daily and Sunday papers. Let's see. Because when Dark Horse reprinted these, they reformatted all the pages. The artwork assembled in this volume collects the strips from the end of Archie Goodwin and Al Williamson's 3 year and 1 month of producing the daily and Sunday Star Wars newspaper strip. Archie Goodwin and Al Williamson, who was also probably more prolifically known for me as John Romita Jr.'s inker. But it's either Dan Green or it's Al Williamson in the late 80s, especially with his Daredevil run. But in 1977, let's see if I had access to my browser. But this is a completely different continuity too. The strips, the newspaper strips, cover a story between A New Hope, the end of A New Hope, episode 4, and up until the opening crawl of episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, which is already covered in these issues as well. All the Marvel issues between 1977 and May of 1983, until the Return of the Jedi adaptation comes out, which had its own issue numbers. They didn't, because Star Wars number 1 is, issues like 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 is the movie, and then Empire Strikes Back is part of this series. Then there's the official Marvel adaptation of Return of the Jedi, which is like it had an issue number 1, and it was a miniseries, and that does not factor into the issues 1 through 107. So it should be 1 through 107, 3 annuals, and then the 4 issues. I think maybe it's 3, but the 3, but the Return of the Jedi miniseries. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, there you have 2 different continuities, and that's just pre-expanded universe. And expanded universe started in the very early 90s with Lucas Books and the Lucas Story Group, and the whole then they had the concerted effort that everything is canon and it has to go through editorial scrutiny, and Bibles were made, holocrons, one could say, and in this all of this, and then the prequels came, and it's coming from George. Stories had to shift a bit, and then after the prequels came the video games the Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic, set 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. Yeah. And in all of those 4,000 years, there are plenty of, in continuity, canon examples of SA in grape. There are. Not very many, no. Because it is Star Wars. You know, but I mean, so you wanted an adult Star Wars show. And this is what we get. I mean, that is, I mean, there you go. I mean, this is boutique appointment television. You know, you have things like Young Jedi Adventures. You have shows like Skeleton Crew. Definitely made for children. Then you have shows like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Definitely made, and the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian. And those are really, really made for the universal general Star Wars audience. Especially the Lucas era people that like the Star Wars. I mean, that like the Disney stuff. I don't watch the Mando. I don't, like I said, I've only watched 8 minutes. And then I've seen capsule reviews. And then comes very specific boutique styles of shows, such as The Acolyte. And, you know, and I've pretty much, I've absorbed The Acolyte through capsule reviews, and it's interesting because I'll watch 3 or 4 different shows about the same episode. In time totals, it's probably 3 times as long as the episode itself that I could have just watched. But then we have to go back to, I don't want to give Disney Plus the metrics it really needs from me as a viewer, which are the click of play and the runtime. It's got nothing to do with ads. It's got nothing. It's all, you know, it's all paid for, and money doesn't matter to them. It's about brand perpetuation. But evolve and elevate the iconic brand. We've made it a boutique experience. We're catering to very small parts. It's not just for the general audience anymore. I'm not defending Disney. I'm not condoning it. I don't like it much. If it was likable, don't you think I'd be supporting it? Don't you think I'd be watching it? Don't you think I'd have Disney Plus? I'd buy comic books. Don't you think I would get my own subscription and ante up and pay for what I like? Seriously, I would be buying. I would be watching this. I would be paying for it if I felt there was something worthwhile in this. But it's really not. It's a pale. It's a derivative experience. It's a pale copy. It doesn't have the force behind it. The force is a mystical, spiritual experience. It was lightning in a bottle. I think Star Wars, will go away with my generation. I mean, it might not have the staying power. I hope I'm wrong. And young people out there, they don't know the difference between episodes 9 and episodes 1. Or 4 and 5 and 6. It's all Star Wars to them. It's all the same thing. They don't see the striation in the rock. They didn't see the sea change, and they're not. They didn't live that. That's not their experience. They love Star Wars because it's Star Wars. But they've got a lot more choices to choose from. A lot of different flavors in this ice cream factory. I don't have answers. All I have are more questions. But, I mean, the outrage. It's like, oh my gosh! There's SA in this show! Well, it was made for adults. It's literally a 14-plus show, meaning over the age of 14 years old. And that's its suggestion, its rating suggestion. It is literally presented It's like drinking lemonade and saying, "Why is this so sour?" I mean, come on. I get it that you're shocked. And by why are you? Seeing that everything has to be so put through these hoops, these filters, jump over these hurdles of these checklists, these boxes to check off. And I gotta say, there's nothing more feminist than the depiction on screen of the empowered woman defending herself off from SA and bashing that imperial officers, that potential harmer, that oppressor. You know what I mean? She's got this intersection of different things. She's an undocumented worker. She could be deported. She's a woman in a vulnerable place because she's alone and away from anyone who could protect her. So she's got to protect herself. And it is the fear of all fears for women. Really, I mean, seriously, have some empathy. What is the scariest thing for a woman besides SA? Probably the resulting pregnancy that exists in the probability if that happens. I mean, there's a lot to unpack. I want to go back to The Acolyte for a second, talking about feminism and Star Wars, a specific boutique kind of ice cream flavor, you know. And there were things to like about, from what I saw from my cheap seats. I mean, I thought that the lightsaber duel between the Stranger and the Jedi in the forest there was pretty fun. It was pretty amazing. I liked the reveal of the second saber hidden in the hilt. That's the way of the Sith. I mean, I heard all these things like, how could all those Jedi and all their training get killed so easily? Because they never expected a Sith. They never expected that coming. No Jedi would have expected that because there were none. This breaks canon. No, it doesn't. I mean, Lucas canon ended in 2012. This is the Disney stuff. That's the best answer I have for you. Have some compartmentalization. I mean, learn to deal with your divorced parents. Going back to my ex-wife thing, you know what I mean? Sure. I mean, like, there you go. And also the whole thing about the witch planet that wasn't Dathomir, and they weren't Night Sisters, that they were Force users, and they were all women, and living in this communist communal kind of same-sex. So isn't fucking the mascara of Paradise Island of DC Comics, where Wonder Woman comes from. Hello, that's kind of mythological, isn't it? But like I heard, like, oh, they like had this weird interpretation of the Force. They didn't call it the Force; they called it the thread. And I thought that was interesting, especially because women, before the industrialization of clothing in factories, women made a lot of their own kind of money through the ability to fabricate clothes, for others, not just themselves and their families, but if you could sell your clothes, seriously. I'm a single guy. You think I know, how to? I have time to cut and make myself pants? No, I would ask, the widow down the street, or you know what I mean. Hey, how much for some slacks? I can see. I mean, that's just history and shit. But the thread, instead of using the Force, but the thread does bind us together, like the Force, and it is very feminine to sew, and to I mean, and I don't have to like it to respect it, and that's just a completely alien culture that is so not involved with what's going on in the core systems of our galaxy far, far away. You know what I mean? If they knew what the Force, they know what the Force is, but they didn't have that terminology. They have their own language for it and their own metaphor for it as well. And that's how they use the Force to fabricate a dyad. Seriously. Parthenogenesis, 2 women using the Force to create their twin daughters. Osha and the other one. And that represented as well the balance of the Force, the dark and the light side, the potential, you know what I mean, to switch valences and values, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, in hindsight, The Acolyte does not sound as bad as everyone was making it out to be. And I should watch it for my own personal, not my pleasure, but my own edification. Dig? You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Andor, I mean, I didn't like Rogue One in the first place. The last 20 minutes of Rogue One is amazing. And I liked Chirrut and Baze. They were good characters. I thought they were gay-coded. I did because, I mean, I've seen Rogue One a few times, and I swear there's a line cut out of it from the feature release where Baze is like, you know, Chirrut, don't leave me, don't leave me. And he sounds so brokenhearted, but did they cut that line out of the home version release? Because Star Wars, I mean, that's like, they tinker with the movies. They do. All the time. I mean, but seriously, I mean, so here we are. We're talking about SA and Star Wars, and it's about war. War. Horrible things happen in war. Genocide. I mean, didn't Tarkin blow up Alderaan? What was the butcher's bill there? How about Hux? Starkiller 1. The entire Hosnian system. That's horrible. If you think about it, if you really spend some mind, thought it, like, oh, wow. That is horrible. I mean, Anakin, not just killing children in the Jedi Temple. Off screen, it's presumed. And there were survivors. We saw that in the Obi-Wan show. Grogu was a survivor of that as well. And so was Reva. But in Attack of the Clones, after Anakin finds his mother, he kills the entire Tusken village. The women and the children, I hate them. And poor Anne, that's when Padme should have ran. I mean, that's when Padme made a choice. She was like, you know what I mean? And it's really hard to interpret Natalie Portman's feelings. She had no dialogue in that scene after Anakin made that admission. And so you have to go upon nuance, interpretation. You have to look at her body language. You have to look at her micro expressions. I mean, what is Padme thinking and feeling? Because by Act 3, they're on Geonosis, and she admits to being deeply in love with him. Before we die, I want you to know how truly, deeply I love you. And before we die, I wanted you to know that. And they kiss. And the music swells. It's actually a really fucking good shot. I like Attack of the Clones. I am a prequel apologist. Ask my friend Pete, my best friend Peter Fernandez. He will tell you I was going to bat for the prequels back then. Then he introduced me to Red Letter Media and the Mr. Plinkett videos. And I haven't been the same ever since. Yet, I have had, and I retain, a very healthy respect and love for the prequels. And that's where I get that, that interpretation. Like, oh yeah. Like, so what? I mean, you're talking about SA and definitely in a boutique made for adults, an adult-flavored Star Wars show. It's purposefully designed and sold to you that way. There is that expectation. But did you think about the nuance in the PG movie of Attack of the Clones? Did that fly under your radar? Did it even happen? Because there you go. I mean, that's art and that's interpretation. It's not artistic to think about abuse. But I'm thinking, there's so much, and then people are like, oh, you can't use Earth history to justify the behavior of the Tusken Raiders. But you can justify the whole thing for Star Wars saying it's a Vietnam allegory when there's plenty of World War II. There's plenty of Roman Empire in that actually outweighs the Vietnam stuff. So it's only real life when you need it to be. Because the whole thing of women captives. I think about the sobbing women in the Roman days. Well, about them sobbing women. And the Roman troop was riding by and caught them in their me oh my's. Or that's what Plutarch said. Oh, yes, and the women were sobbing, 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 fit to be tied. Every muscle was throbbing, throbbing from that riotous ride. Well, they kissed and hugged and tied all over that Roman countryside. Adieu, that's what you did when you're taking a wife, sobbing fit to be tied from that riotous ride. That's from 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. But the sobbing women, it's a famous thing in art, in like Renaissance art. It's a famous Roman story. The Roman troop was coming by the Sabine, and saw the bathing beauties. All the young women were naked in the lake bathing themselves. And a Roman troop was passing by. And what do? They grabbed those women and took them back to Rome with them. And to Rotunda, short and cute, with the babe on each knee, named Claudius and Brute. And the women were sobbing, sobbing, sobbing buckets of tears. But secretly they were overjoyed. Well, you got to watch 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. But this has been some Star Wars talk. I mean, and goings on. I mean, why are you upset about it? Yes, it's great to be upset about SA. And but just the online fight between the Disney people and the old and the Lucas people, it's amazing. The lengths people take, the mental gymnastics, the combatants take while fighting over pros or cons in this. And it's like there are better answers and there are better ways to discuss this. But it takes having an open mind and being able to communicate, especially with those who are across the aisle from you. And remember, my world is in an oblate spheroid. It has no sides. I'm far middle. And what is going on in the realms of comic books this week? Let us see. And the women were sobbing, 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 fit to be tied. Every muscle was throbbing, throbbing from that riotous ride. Well, they Bless your beautiful hide, prepare to bend your knee. We ain't met yet, but I'm willing to bet you're the gal for me. Bless your beautiful hide, you're just as good as locked. I don't know your name, but I'm mistaken my claim, lest your eyes is crossed. Well, I'd swap my money gun and I'd swap my mule, but whoever took it would be one big fool. Or pay your way through cooking school if then you would say I do. Bless your beautiful hide, prepare to bend your knee. And take that vow, 'cause I'm telling you now, you're the gal for me. Pretty and trim, but not too thin. Heavenly eyes with just the right size. Simple and sweet. And sassy as can be. Bless your beautiful hide. Prepare to bend your knee. This musical interlude has been brought to you by Pikachu's Fried Sushi. That's right. Mama Pikachu's Fried Sushi. Just the way that Mama Pikachu used to make it for little baby Pikachu. When he was just a little Pikachu. In his Eggachu. Was he a Pikachu? Or is that a different... See, I don't know my Pokemon well enough to know that. Let me know in the comment section. No, there's Pikachu, then there's Raichu, and then there's something else? Or is there something before Pikachu? Is that little Pikachu thingy? Yeah, I can't even look it up right now. I read 15 Marvel books this week. Let's start off with one of the worst of them. Amazing Spider-Man #2 by Joe Kelly. And art by Pepe Larraz. There's nothing about the John Romita Jr. Scott Hanna stuff about the mystery of the new Hell character, Hellgate. Is that it? The name got spoiled on the cover of a variant cover from issue 1. And the Norman Osborn stuff. I mean, there's nothing going. It was just all a story, but it wasn't great. And I don't know who Itsy Bitsy is, and I don't care. It was like, it wasn't engaging. It didn't entertain me. It was quite boring. It was a nothing burger. And this is Marvel's flagship. So yeah, I mean, Amazing Spider-Man issue #2. I mean, this is it. This is the flagship. This is what we're getting. I know sometimes we have to give things a few episodes, a few issues to find their legs and find their beats. And maybe in hindsight, things make more sense. I don't have answers. All I have are more questions. Yeah, I'm bald. It's a little hot in here. Ladies and gentlemen, Pikachu sings the blues. Pika, Pika, Pika. What else did I read this week? Avengers 25 with art by Valerio Schiti and written by Jed McKay. One World Under Doom. It's coming right out of it. It's an Asterix that happens right at the end of One World Under Doom #2, I believe. And the Avengers team up with the Masters of Evil. And all these things get like more fleshed out in this week's One World Under Doom #3, which I gave it to maybe a 4-word review. It sucked. Enough said. I know I skipped ahead to One World Under Doom #3, but now we don't have to talk about it. This was a weak week from Marvel. I was a little disappointed. Also, it was like I had a bad week last week. Like last Monday, Marathon Monday, I had a major panic attack. My PTSD. It's still around. It's still there. I was at Marathon Monday game, 11 o'clock start, 11:10 first pitch. I was there with my buddy Thomas Gilkey, who got us the tickets. They were club seats. We sat in the Aura Lounge section. We got the buffet. We got it was Class A treatment. But I have like a beer in my hand that I'm sipping on at 11:10 a.m. But everyone else is, whatever. I've had a beer for breakfast before, and I had breakfast. So this, I had something to eat. I did have a gummy before that, and I had a panic attack in the third inning. Maybe it was because someone shagged the foul ball, right, a couple of seats over and one row down. I mean, we came very close to fall ball stuff, and then it just, because the club seats are pretty high up and look down, and I got this sense of vertigo, and then there was insanely loud people behind us, and then it's karmic for me, I guess, because I'm usually the insanely loud person. Like at a Bruins game, I get drunk and have fun, but it was just I'm getting older, and and on top of it all, it's Marathon Monday. There's between, no lie, 600 and 800,000 pedestrians in downtown Boston. Just, you know what I mean? And for that day. And a lot of them there are pedestrians. The city is neutralized when it comes to traffic, really. Car traffic. People are taking public transportation. And it was such a beautiful day. And then I had to suffer the public transportation on the way home, too. It was bad. I didn't bring my pills with me because I was drinking. Live and learn. I mean, seriously, it's still. And then I went home early from work on Tuesday because I was still recovering from that panic attack. It was horrible. But hey, that's my life, and you got to run your shit or your shit runs you. That's one of the mantras of this channel, especially with all the gratitude that we talk about. And you can talk about gratitude mostly every weekday morning with us. First thing in the morning, you can find the Gratitude Show. There is a playlist on the menu. Look at the menu channel. And if you haven't already, smash that like button for Pete's sake. And do me a favor, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe now. I'm on the march to 2,000 subscribers by the end of this calendar year. We are so close. I'm just like, every time we come up to, we're almost about to break 1,600. And then it's just like it's been like treading water right under 1,600 for weeks, and it's like, oh, I've been making shorts, been trying to generate interest, and I literally cannot do it without your help. So please smash that like button, turn on those notifications, ring that bell, and for heaven's sake, subscribe. Tell a friend, bring a friend next time. We like hanging out. We like talking about comic books, such as Ben Percy and Joshua Cassara's Deadpool and Wolverine issue 4. Issue 4. Issue what? Now I lost the page because I hit the wrong button. I boomered it. And I have all the reviews I sent to Jim. And then Jim reads them on Wes's Patreon show, on his Thursday show. So you might have already heard them. So why, bother like reading what I already wrote when you probably already heard it? And I'm just blessed and grateful that Jim sends me these books, that he like that. I not only give him my reviews, that he like they have a spot on him and Wes's Best of the Week show. It's great. I'm a really I'm thank you guys. Yeah, and I'm in Florida right now, so this is not a live stream. This is pre-recorded. Sorry, you haven't seen any of the comments, or if I haven't participated in the live chat. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm watching the show from Florida right now, and I'm knee deep in the live chat. I don't know yet. Maybe that just might happen. I could. But sorry, I was not able to be on Wes's Thinking Critical's Comics Aficionados yesterday morning. It's Saturday. I'm in Florida hanging out with my family, so I couldn't. I'll be back next week, God willing. Wes willing too. Seriously. Eddie Brock Carnage #3, written by Charles Soule, with art by Jesus Ciez. Still one of my favorite monthly Marvel books. I hope this does not get canceled. I hope this isn't one of these 6-issue minis. I mean, this could have legs. Eddie Brock Carnage. It's really interesting, okay? I've never been the biggest Venom fan. I'm not into Donny Cates. I wasn't into the Null thing, the King of Black, sorry. I wasn't, even 30 years of this shit or more, I wasn't into Lethal Protector. I wasn't, like, back in the 90s. I wasn't, I'm a huge Amazing Spider-Man fan, but I really wasn't reading Spider-Man around the 300s to the 400, you know what I mean? I came back to Spider-Man almost in volume 2 in the early aughts with the J. Michael Straczynski and the John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna stuff. That's like, I took a huge break from comic books. I mean, that's part of my story. It's like, I'm 52 years old, lifelong comic book fan. Love Marvel comic books. I mean, by volume, there's got to be more Marvel books on the spinner rack than DC or anything else. Seriously. So I guess by the weight of the evidence, as a kid, I was more of a Marvel fan. I've always felt I am an equal DC Marvel fan, but the data supports Marvel. Where was I? So I was in high school then, and it was like there weren't many books I was reading in high school. I kind of cooled off of comics, freshman, there were things I was paying attention to, like Batman, because 89 was the movie. I was reading Tech, I was reading Batman. There were so many things going on in Batman around then. I was Batman crazy. Dark Knight, like shortly before that. Dark Knight Returns, rather, by Frank Miller. But, the early 90s is like, that's when I was like, turning 20, 21, the drinking age. You know what I mean? I was, it was about hanging out and stuff. I kept my eye on comics, but it was specifically, I think, 1995. I was 22 years old, and where I got off the sauce. And it was X-Men. It was Onslaught, because I was big on Fatal Attractions. I was big on E is for Extinction. That's what brought me back, was E is for Extinction. I missed Fall of the Mutants. I missed the Siege Perilous. I came back for I came back for Extinction Agenda, and I stayed pretty much until, Fatal Attractions, and then Age of Apocalypse. I loved Age of Apocalypse, but by the time Onslaught came, I hit the wall. I was just, I was just tired of it. It wasn't clicking with me. And good thing too, I'm good at smelling a rat a mile away too, because that's what caused like the Counter-Earth new Marvel universe and Franklin Richards and fixing everything. And didn't we have a sliding timeline reboot? Wasn't that Crisis Level? I don't know. I don't have answers. All I have are more questions. But yeah, sorry, long way around. I was not an Eddie Brock Venom fan. I was a big fan of the black costume. I love Spidey in his black costume. Dude, I was 11 when Secret Wars 8 came out. Dude, that's sick. I love the black costume. But Venom, not so much. Weird, huh? But I like the idea of him. I like that he was such a great foil to Peter. I love that Venom could nullify Peter's Spidey sense, so he couldn't feel him coming. So that gives tension. That gives stakes. You know what I mean? I thought that was great. So we all know that Eddie Brock, he became OP, overpowered. He defeated Null. He became the king of all symbiotes, living in some kind of out-of-time pool of ooze and having many versions of himself from different timelines, and Meridius and this one and the other one. And then came then came Venom War, the Venom symbiote became attached to Dylan Brock, Eddie's teenage son. And there was Venom War recently. And so there's been a new status quo for the symbiotes. And so we've taken, with all that said, what's the point of that? Well, Eddie Brock Carnage issues 1 and 2 were great. Jesus Saez's art is amazing, and it's got some interesting pacing, and this is evident in issue number 3 from this week as well. And it's good. Yeah, it's interesting pacing because it has its moments of grotesque. Because Carnage, who is Carnage? Carnage is a symbiote that came from Venom. When Venom was doing time, or Eddie Brock was doing time, it had a baby, and while it was in prison, and the symbiote attached itself to a serial killer named Cletus Cassidy, and this became the horror known as Carnage, who uses his liquid-like tendrils to become razor-sharp, pokey things and swords and blades, and it's just, symbiotes eat people. That's how they sustain themselves. Come on. So now that you know what I know about symbiotes, now comes post-Venom War. The Venom symbiote is got a new host, a new writer. We all know it's Mary Jane Watson. Whoop-de-doo. Well, what's with the gold stuff? That's Uru. It's a metal from Valhalla, from Asgard. And that came about during Venom War. So Venom has a new status quo at all new Venom. And Carnage has an all new status quo. But what they've done, though, is they've taken Eddie Brock, who is almost like a cosmic level OP character. They've taken Eddie Brock and they've grounded him on planet Earth. He's been taken away from all that stuff. Now he has to find purpose all over again. Now he has an opportunity, a second chance at life, but with a drastic cost. He has maybe some kind of hope deep down inside that maybe this time he can reconnect with Dylan and be a father to his son and enjoy some of this life. But at the end of Venom War, he found himself vulnerable, broken, dying, and he found someone just like that. And they needed each other. And they bonded. And that was the Carnage symbiote. So now Eddie Brock is the host for Carnage. And they have a really good, internal dialogue. They call it the below. And that's the space where the host and the symbiote talk. Here, I've just been going on for 10 minutes about fucking Eddie Brock Carnage. This is a book that's probably flying under most of your radars. It's got great art. It has really grotesque moments. I think it's a lot like Dexter, the Showtime serial show. Serial show. Well, it is a serial show, and it's about a serial killer who works for the FBI as a profiler of serial killers, and he's given himself permission to kill the serial killers. That's what Eddie Brock is doing. So it's brought him back, not just to planet Earth, but it's grounding him, because now he's writing for a podcast. A podcast, this is his job. He's gone back to what he knows. He's being an investigative reporter. He's working for a podcast, a nationally syndicated podcast that focuses on serial killers. And he's made a deal with Carnage. Because Eddie can't live without Carnage. Carnage needs a host. Eddie thinks that, hey, if I'm pulling the reins in Carnage, he's not going to be doing his evil like he usually does. But at a cost, he's got to feed the symbiote. And so the deal is, when we find these serial killers, you can have them. Ain't that cool? I mean, seriously, okay, I've just gone on and on about it. Issue 3 of this is my pick of the week, is Eddie Brock Carnage. Now, also, Ultimate Black Panther number 15 was fucking great. This is the most reliable book. It might be the best, one of the best consistent superhero books that Marvel is publishing month for month. It's great consistent art by Stefano Caselli. Interesting stories by Brian Hill. It's always got intrigue. It's always got a fight. It's got great superhero fight scenes, poses, great tech, great gear porn, and it's got mysticism, and it's got something to do with the ultimate overstory, but it's got great characters, great dialogue. I mean, I've been consistently entertained by Ultimate Black Panther month after month after month, and I am not ashamed to admit that I think that Ultimate Black Panther is the best Ultimate comic going on at Marvel right now. Seriously. Hey, it's a different show when I'm not distracted by the live chat. I'm sorry. I mean, because it's about looking at you, engaging you, talking with you, and having this comic book shop style conversation. Yeah, I mean, I missed this. I really did. I mean, hey, let me know in the comments section. Maybe I should go back to this kind of format. Why not? It just takes a little effort, and just put aside some time. I do like reading chats. I do like the lot, being part of it too, but there's something here. I mean, I can feel it. Can you? I can feel it, baby. Woo! Can you feel it too? It's such a good vibration. Come on, come on, come on. It's such a sweet sensation. Feel it, yo. It's about that time to break forth the rhythm and the rhyme. Marky Mark, and I'm here to move you. And to smooth you. On the bing and the hing and the hump and the hang. Thing off the vibration. Can you feel it, baby? We get wacky here. I actually don't. I just do everything that Pikachu writes down. The copious amount of show notes that I have to endure from the mind of my Pokemon. Yeah, Eddie Brock Carnage. Don't let it fly under your radar. Get that? And Ultimate Black Panther. Those are the best this week. I also read Infinity Watch number 4. That was kind of bad. Magic number 4. It was terrible. These are comic books made by women, for women. What's the point? There's no... I feel like there's no... I mean, I'm being such a misogynist right now. You Yahtzee! You bigot! New Champions number 5. Terrible book. Gosh, I mean, dude, that was like, I think that gave me a headache. One World Under Due number 3, that sucked. Predator versus Spider-Man number 1 by Ben Percy. I had some expectations for this because I liked Predator versus Black Panther. Was there another Predator one that was in between? Because they're taking this idea and they're going with it. The only good part was, spoilers, that in the last page there's a reveal of Kraven the Hunter. So now we have the Hunter, the Hunted, and Kraven the Hunter. So now you have, enemy, protagonist, antagonist, negation of the negation, which is, you would better know as Gollum from Lord of the Rings. He's not Sauron. He's not the Fellowship. He's got his own agenda. He's the wild card. He could side on either side. Or betray either side. You know what I mean? Seriously, I love that. But I had a lot of hope for this, and it fell really flat. It's interesting that these books had more grotesque and more gore than the Red Band books. Red Band books are this Marvel publishing initiative sold in sealed plastic bags with a Red Band explicit advisory. They are variant interiors. And I'm part of that problem because I bought a shitload of them. Actually, not a shitload. I only bought, 7 of them? It was Blood Hunt, the vampire event from last year. So I decided to get, to indulge and just let me get the Blood Hunt ones and keep them in their unopened poly bags. I read them online. And yeah, Blood Hunt's Blood Hunt. But there are Red Band titles out there, such as this week's Werewolf by Night, number 9. And there's Blade that just ended, thankfully, because it was terrible. What else is there? There's a couple more. I know there's Elektra Unleash Hell by Erica Schultz, and it's really good. It got great art, good story, and it shows that Erica Schultz can do the yeoman's work, because she's definitely not doing it over on her Laura Kinney Wolverine. I mean, sorry, Mrs. Schultz. I don't believe in punching down. I mean, that's not even a punch. It's just, that's a criticism from a reader. Sabretooth, the Dead Don't Talk, number 5 of 5 by Frank Thierry and St. Maria. And it just ends very flatly. I mean, I liked the preceding 4 issues. Well, 3. It was one of, like I said, like as I was saying, like the first issue didn't grab me. The second, third, and fourth issues, though, whoa, made that first issue better and more readable. But the 5th issue here, the denouement, it's a big fight with the big bad, but it kind of ends too soon, and then there's so many loose ends to tie up, and it just, I mean, I didn't get the pacing of it. I mean, the art was still good. It was a great period piece. It's about Victor Creed, the Sabretooth, in 1908 Manhattan. And it was, me and Jim were raving about it in months past. But I just feel that, that this final issue, the end of the trade paperback, it didn't end. It didn't land. For me, it didn't stick the landing. Sorry. Yeah, and it's just my opinion. It's not a bad book. It didn't do it for me. X-Force number 10, aka Legacy number 300. Thank God it's over. So some of these from the Ashes X-Men books are wrapping up. We've got Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 5 of 5, which wraps up the Christos Gage helmed prequel to the new animated series, where things are just a little different, and it's not my cup of tea. And hopefully, if this is made for the trade, I mean, are there any fans of the TV show out there? It's an animated. I usually love different Spider-Man cartoons. Okay, there's so many different Spider-Man cartoons. And they basically inhabit their own interpretations, their own iteration of the Rogues Gallery, of Spidey where he's at, and when in his life. I mean, there's There's the almost seminal Fox Spider-Man the Animated Series, which is great. I grew up with Spider-Man 867, the jazz theme. And I also grew up with Spider-Man on the Electric Company. And also, by 1981, there's Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends on Saturday mornings. That's Iceman and Firestar. And I like Miss Lyons the best. I would love to get a golden Shih Tzu and call her Miss Lyons. Ms. Lion. It's Ms. Lion. I thought it was Lion with a Y, but I've only found out recently that it's Lion, Lion, Ms. Lion. That was Aunt May's Shih Tzu. I love Shih Tzus. They're great dogs. But this was not a great comic book. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man 505 wraps up. It'll collect well. Hopefully it will sell to fans of the show. And enough said, as Stan Lee would say. X-Men number 15, written by Jed MacKay, art by Ryan Stegman. Great art by Ryan Stegman. But this is a book that it's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry, Mr. MacKay. I'm sorry, Mr. Stegman does a great job. He's very cartoony. He's got some hand-drawn onomatopoeia, a.k.a. sound effects. How do you hear big noises going on in the background of a fight scene? The artist usually draws them. But more contemporary, they're just dragged and dropped by the letterer or the colorist at this point. But usually, a very good, an old school, anything up until the modern age, artists have been the ones that fill in those blanks with stylized words that are spelled the way they sound. The onomatopoeia. Pow. Bamf. Snicked. Thwip. Pow, pow, pew, pew, pew. Pew, 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 pew. How do you spell pew, pew, pew? Pew, 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 pew. That's more like the Battlestar Galactica one. Or how do you spell that? Seriously, that's onomatopoeia. And it's a very important part of a comic book. And a bad onomatopoeia for me can suck me right out of the enjoyment of the story, the art, and the panel itself. Hence that modern, they just slap these freaking color forms on top of Johnny Romita's shit, man. Johnny Jr. stuff, man. I see it every time. I cannot not see it. And those were the 15 Marvel books that we read this week. Now it's time for What's in the Bag. What's in the bag? What's in the bag? We got 4 floppies this week. That's right, 4 fresh funny books straight from the shelves. And let's see, are they yeah, they're sorted. Yeah, they're sorted. All right, they're in order of preference. I got G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Roadblock number 1, and this is part of the Silent Missions shorts. Well, they're one-shots. We had Beachhead, then we had Jinx. Now we've got Roadblock, and I think the next one is Duke. Does it show how many there were? It concludes next month. Does it show? Is there a checklist? This is a disappointment. It had great art. It's a pretty decent story for Joe fans. Its protagonist is Roadblock, and who's the heavy machine gunner. And so this is supposed to be in the style of inspired by issue number 21 of Real American Hero, Silent Interlude, where there's no spoken dialogue, there is no narrative caption, and there are no onomatopoeia, aka sound effects. It's quiet. And so there's a believability, there's a verisimilitude. What do you say? Having the appearance of being true. That's what verisimilitude means. An appeal to your suspension of disbelief. That most of the events in A Real American Hero number 21, it's quiet because it's about ninjas and it's about isolation and it's about Snake Eyes silently entering the Cobra castle in order to rescue Scarlet. Now, there are definitely instances where you can infer from the art and interpret, yes, there's something going on here that's sound worthy. Like, a claw flying overhead. Cobra Commander giving the order to put Scarlet in chains and take her to the dungeon. Things like that. But the rest of it, it's basically ninjas being quiet. So there's the thing to it. And these modern day G.I. Joe or Real American Heroes silent missions, they're not... So the intention was to emulate that issue 21, but in execution, it comes up miserably short. It really does, because the entire book is loud. I mean, you have a snowmobile, a heavy machine gunner, a Cobra Rattler, heavy gunfire, and all it is, it's just a story without word balloons, without narrative caption boxes in the corners, or on and onomatopoeia. There's no sound effects. So I think, and I had the same problem with Beachhead. Not so much Jinx, because Jinx is a ninja, and it had this really interesting compressed story, because the entire story was supposed to last 20 seconds, over 20 pages. So it had a theme to it. There was some artistic merit there. It was very creative. It tried to do something, but there was definitely noises going on, of course, because, Jinx is escaping from the Cobra, hangar, blah, blah, woof, woof. I think Roadblock in this is trying to rescue CoverGirl. And she looks more like her action figure. And that's what I really dig about this. Wild Weasel looks like his action figure. Roadblock looks like his action figure. You know what I mean? That's CoverGirl, the driver of that's. I had her action figure. I had the Wolverine, the missile launcher. It had treads. The treads didn't move. There were wheels on the chassis underneath it, like little wheels, tire wheels. But yeah, I had that action figure. I had Scarlet. I had Baroness. I had CoverGirl, and that there were, but it's got to be said, there were no women of color. I had Stalker, and I had Airborne. I had Quick Kick. I had Storm Shadow. So I had plenty of diversity. But women, but that's called presentism. If you want an example of presentism, capital P, using our present right now to judge the past and shake our fingers at it and say naughty, naughty, no. There's only so much you can take. There's only so far you can take that shit, huh? But yeah, so not just G.I. Joe Silent Missions Roadblock was a miss, the whole thing. But I'm on the hook for it because I've been buying G.I. Joe: A Real American Hero on Skybound Image, and that's that. Yeah. So hey, they can't all be winners. This is the special milestone issue. It's a little extra thick. It's for $5.99. It's issue 25 of Superman with art by Dan Mora, written by Joshua Williamson. It's pretty good. I've got every issue. Oh, no, Jamal Campbell's doing the art. Eddie Barrows is doing the art. And Dan Mora. Okay, so that's what that makes sense. Because like I said, that's definitely Eddie Barrows doing this flashback. It's interesting when you can tell, it doesn't have a legend, what artists did what pages. Dude, Dan Mora, boom, and you can tell the Jamal Campbell, page. Yeah. Screw it. But it's okay. I mean, it's just it's Superman. I've been reading every single issue. It's on my pull list, and it's my book. I love this book. It's the return of Marilyn Moonlight. One of the best designed characters in a long time. I mean, I love the way that Marilyn Moonlight's designed. Look at that page. Look at that. Oh, great. This is an Eddie Barrows page. You can tell from the hatching and the line art. But Marilyn Moonlight, man, that's a fucking great character. Look at the design in that. And you have to know how to draw a horse, too. Indeed. On the other side of the G.I. Joe spectrum, we have the Energon universe. Lo and behold, G.I. Joe number 6 from Image Skybound, Energon universe. I love how they have the floating heads on the corner. EU, that means Energon universe. This is the B cover. You can tell that from the US, the UPC symbol here. The last 5 digits, 006. That means issue 6. That second digit, that fourth digit there, that is which cover? It would say 1 if that was the A cover. This has a 2, so it's the B cover. So 4 would be a D cover, And then that 5th digit, that 1, it means which volume number it is. So this is volume 1. G.I. Joe, volume 1. This is a fun book. You can hear character voices from the cartoon. I can, at least, because that's where I am as a fan. It's basically it's like Cobra Commander and Duke issue 6 for this wraps up the first arc. So this will like wrap up the first trade paperback. It's great. I get every Baroness cover that I can get. Well, I choose one. I'm not getting, like, I usually don't fall for the variant cover scheme. But since my store offers a variant cover, here you go. This is G.I. Joe number 6. This is the B cover. Daniel Chew? Uh-oh. Derek Chew. Yeah. And why did I get it? It's a Baroness cover. Here is your other covers. So that's the B cover. That's your C cover. That's your D cover. E and F. Daniel Warren Johnson does the F cover. Yeah. Even says cover B, cover C. That's a great Daniel Warren Johnson cover. I had the option to get that, but guess what? I get the Baroness covers. Yeah, because I love the Baroness. It's good, and it plays right into dovetailing our this G.I. Joe iteration into the Energon Universe iteration of Transformers. Pick of the week, Jeremy Adams and Company, Green Lantern number 22. Very good. Let's see if this works. Hold on. You found the pause button. No one has to know I got up and got a pee. Oh, hi. So yeah, Green Lantern number 22, written by Jeremy Adams, art by Harmonico, and this is really good. It starts off with a fight with Hector Hammond and Hal Jordan, Dove of Hawk and Dove, and Carol Ferris, the Star Sapphire, who is now a hero. And it's great because it's easily resolved, and I love this panel. I love Jeremy Adams. Look at this. Boom, smack. And while Carol is distracted, Hector Hammond, boom, and there's Hal, just knocks him out. And there's Dove, because she's, Hawk and Dove. She's a pacifist. Did you have to hit him? No, I didn't have to. I love that. Isn't that cool? That's a superhero. That's a superhero moment. That's classic superhero movie. And that's why Jeremy Adams is one of the best superhero writers out there right now. There are titles for us. Remember, DC and Marvel have to publish things in a spectrum. They have to evolve and elevate the iconic brands. They have to try to get the comics are understanding the Bud Light mistake. Don't treat your pre-existing customers like they're out of touch. You have to give them something to buy and to root for. Green Lantern is a great example of that, because there are plenty of other titles out there that just don't give that effort and level of attention, especially to the pre-existing audience, because it's not about them. It's about cultivating the new drinker, the new eater, the new reader, the new guest, the new consumer. Elevating the iconic brand. Evolve and elevate the iconic brand. Bring in inclusivity, because to include people means you're going to get more people shopping with you. But are they? Are they really? They're offering, they're producing, they're hiring with that in mind. But do those products really sell? Do they? We'll never know, because comic book sales data is probably one of the most misunderstood things out there. Comic book sales data is not... There is no transparency about comic book sales data. And what we know from something such as Comic Cron, an amazing site when it comes to the business part, and easy to parse information, complex information, to an adult like me who barely understands how to unzip his pants and go pee. Hey, wicked pissa, huh? No, I think that Jonathan Jackson Miller's Comic Cron's a wonderful site. I have it bookmarked. I still refer to it, especially like the evolution of cover prices over the years. I love that. It's one of my favorite parts of Comic Cron. But his sales data wasn't really sales data. It didn't come from the publishers. It came from the monolithic one distributor, Diamond. And if you're tuned in, you know what happened to Diamond, especially after the pandemic, and especially now. So there's something called Comics Hub, which provides some people, places like ICV2 relies on Comics Hub for their infographics and their listings of the top 200 comics. But Comics Hub is a point of sales. You register. This data comes from a sample size of local comic book shops. Over 125 comic book shops use the Comics Hub data collation system out of what could be 3,000 or more, over 3,000 local comic book shops in the United States. But what qualifies a local comic book shop as well? Is it the Funko store? Is it the place that's been there for 40 years and has, stacks and stacks of long boxes? Seriously, that's debatable too, and this data collation too. So when you see videos about sales figures and sales data and about copies, this had 400,000 copies. Hush 2 issue number 1, we shipped 400,000 copies. That's how many there's a difference between how many you printed, how many you distributed. That means sold to the local comic book shops, and that you actually fulfilled and did, and then comes what the local comic book shops can sell. If they sell. Now that's called paid circulation. Nobody talks about that figure because you don't have access to those numbers. Paid circulation. How many people are paying for an issue of this serial or of this newspaper or of this magazine? It's got, the Boston Globe has a paid circulation. Mademoiselle, Cosmopolitan, Car and Driver, they have a paid circulation. Now they publish and print and distribute lots and lots of complimentary copies, especially to hotel lobbies and airports, and you know what I mean. So the amount that is produced, that is printed, is not the paid circulation, which is that's the number we're looking for. It really is, paid circulation, but we don't get that information in comics and really never have. The industry, of course, knows its own numbers, and they don't have to be transparent. Neither do you. You can have secrets and keep things to yourself just as well as they do. But this is a fun comic book. It's on my pull list. It's Green Lantern number 22, and I'm sticking with it. And those are my comics of the week. Thank you so very much for tuning in this week. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I would love to earn your subscription. Oh yeah, we got one more thing to do. Welcome back to the golden age of DC Comics 365 days, where we take this well-loved, beloved, as I love to say, book that was given to me 2 decades ago by one of my best friends, and it has been surfing my coffee table ever since. This is an Anchor Books publication written by Les Daniels and Chip Kidd, with photographs by Jeff Spear. It's a simple premise. It's a day. It's a page a day book. A 365 days book. We're going to open up this book to today's date. We're going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. Or we used to do. That's how the old show used to start way back in the day. So let's do it. Let's open this book up to April the 27th. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, what is this? This is from Master Comics, number 20, from November of 1941. Just a little reminder that the golden age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age between 1956 and 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby myself, between 1970 and 1984. The Copper Age from 1984 to 1993, which was the advent of Vertigo Comics and Image Comics. We've been in this catch-all nebulous modern age of comics since 1993 up until now. I get those terms from the glossary of the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide. I may not agree with some of those ages and the way they're framed, especially the last 30 years, 31 years for one age of comics. No, it's time to delineate that some more. And we have that power. As part of this ongoing comic book shop style conversation, we're going to shape those ages. We really are. But I feel that the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide is a great standard. It's something we can all agree on. It's what your local comic book shop probably uses to organize its back stock in its long boxes. All right, they're not saying like, oh, these are some Dark Age comic books here. We got some Quantum Age comic books here, and we got, huh? No. People really can agree on this. You don't have to accept it or agree with it, but you can agree on that this is what most people use, and it's found in the glossary of the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide. Sorry, let me have a sip. All right, where was I? It's the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days. And this is how we started the show way back in the day. We used to do a daily show, and I would sandbag content on my days off. And I would release an episode every day. And I did that for a whole year. It's April the 27th. And as I said, okay, this is from Master Comics, number 20. November 1941. I'm pretty sure Master Comics was part of Fawcett Comics, because DC buys Fawcett Comics by the 1950s, therefore retroactively making its rival's product part of the golden age of DC Comics. DC Comics also goes on to buy Charlton Comics, and it was Fawcett Comics, Charlton Comics. There was another one in there too. I mean, I'm kicking myself in the ass. I'll remember this at like 3 a.m. You know. But April 27th, here's some comic book art from an antediluvian age. These are not whole pages. These are excerpts from actual Golden Age comic books. So we like to look at the art. And this is very Disney inspired. Very much inspired by Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The procession to the King of Dwarves starts on its way. And actually, editorially, it's is wrong. It's no apostrophe. It's ITS, not because on it is a way as a contraction. That's, well, let's be forgiving. He must be but a child. He has no beard. So he hasn't. He. And continues down into the bowels of the earth. Aren't they the cutest, sweetest little mannequins you ever saw? They are until they're angry, then watch out. says the guy to his girl. And let's see, this atmospheric panel's fairyland milieu of dwarves and deer suggests the influence of Walt Disney. Silhouetted in the middle distance is El Karim, whose name spelled backwards reads Miracle. A minor member in the club of comic book conjurers, El Karim followed in the footsteps of Ibis the Invincible, right down to the turban and the tag-along girlfriend. Yeah, that's it. That's it, yeah. That's the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days. It's a great book. It's a coffee table book. It's been surfing my coffee table for 2 decades now. Yeah, it really has been 2 decades. It really has. Wow. It might be time for a new one. This thing is so beat up. I'm afraid it's not, you know what I mean? So, well, I'll keep you until you fall apart, I swear. But yeah, this thing's seen a lot of action. It was an entire year of talking about comic books, and it was a very, thank you so much. I am blessed and grateful for that book. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. We will see you in those funny pages. We will return live next week at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern with our Super Sully Sunday stream, live and direct from our Boston studios. But today it is pre-recorded because I'm in Florida, hanging out with my family. Maybe I'm in the live chat. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? But remember to keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for those Star Wars. Nothing but Star Wars. Keep your hands off my girlfriend. Star Wars now. All right. Have a good one. Bye.